Marquez. That would have been quite an awkward introduction to the factory Ducati garage on a Sunday night here in Barcelona.
Yeah, the wall might have been built up before they'd even got together as teammates. Speaking of getting together, Marc Marquez got together a couple of corners after he narrowly missed Pecco Bagnaia. Pedro Acosta didn't miss Marc Marquez coming around turn number 3. Fair to say Pedro Acosta wasn't all too pleased with the 93. But Marc Marquez doesn't take any prisoners. We've known that for quite some time. The front fairing ripped off, and you can see the little wave of the hand there from Pedro Acosta to tell us what he thought of that. That's not the last time we've seen damage done to a gas factory racing KTM either, because Pedro Acosta trashed one in warm-up this morning in very cold conditions when air temperature wasn't even into double figures. It was 9 degrees when we went on the air for warm this morning, and Pedro Acosta had a big crash coming into turn number 5 when the front end washed away under braking with barely any lean angle whatsoever. Fortunately though, Pedro Acosta is a-okay to start this Barcelona Grand Prix from 6th.
The Shark looking for one big final show in his incredible rookie season. There is still a lot at stake in this final Grand Prix of the season. Of course, it's all eyes, full focus on the big fight between the two heavyweights in MotoGP over the last couple of years. 19 points to remind you, the gap between Martin and Bagnaia. Bastianini, third as it stands right now in the championship. He's 5 points clear of Marc Marquez. Here are your championship standings, and outside of that top quartet, they have been the awesome foursome, haven't they? Pedro Acosta and Brad Binder, just 2 points split those two in the fight for 5th overall. The first time in the modern four-stroke MotoGP era that the World Championship has been decided at the final round for 3 consecutive years. Bagnaia has been involved in all 3. In the previous 2, he has come out on top. This, though, is a big ask. In both the previous final round showdowns in 2022 and 2023, he came to the final Grand Prix in a pretty commanding position. He has been the chaser. He has been hunting Jorge Martin since Aragon. I think Martin's had the championship lead since Aragon. He gets the embrace from his parents. This would be, you feel, Lewis, the best of all of his world titles. 24 points he was coming into this Barcelona battle behind Jorge Martin. Martin just needed 14 to capture the title. If Bagnaia is to keep hold of that #1 plate, well, what a story that would be for him and for Ducati.
It says Go 3 on the back of Pecco Bagnaia's leathers. He'll be hoping to replace that with Go 3 later on this afternoon by taking a 3rd consecutive MotoGP title. The problem for him is that it's largely out of his control. All he can control is his own result. And even if he wins this Grand Prix of Barcelona, he still may fall short. As you say, it represents not only how strong a season it's been from both of the title contenders, that 11 wins for Bagnaia on a Sunday may not be sufficient to win the title. Jorge Martin has been too consistent ultimately. Aleix Espargaro then gets ready to climb over a factory Aprilia for the very last time, and as a full-time MotoGP rider, this is the last time we'll see Aleix Espargaro in a MotoGP race. Of course, this final race is supposed to be in Valencia. It would have been had it not been for the terrible tragic events. QR code, bottom left corner of your screen to donate to the Valencia Fund. But it does mean a final farewell at home for Aleix Espargaro.
Will he still be celebrating, though, tonight? Will there be tears of joy for Jorge Martin? Great friends, of course, with Aleix Espargaro. An emotional appearance there in the factory Aprilia garage as Jorge Martin then comes to the Pramac Ducati garage. 24 laps away from being crowned the MotoGP World Champion. He has been so awesome throughout this season. 31 podiums in 39 races so far this season. Consistency has been the platform for him to be in this enviable position. Who wouldn't swap right now with Jorge Martin? 19 points clear with just 25 left to fight for. It's going through the minds of Ducati management right now. Gigi Dall'Igna, who made the call himself to overlook Jorge Martin and pick Marc Marquez in the fight to be Pecco Bagnaia's teammate in 2025 and 2026. I don't think there's any regret in that decision by Ducati. But of course, if Jorge Martin does get over the line today and wrestle the #1 plate away from Pecco Bagnaia, he'll also wrestle it away from Ducati and take the #1 over to the factory of Aprilia. This was Davide Tardozzi speaking to our British colleagues at TNT Sports earlier on this weekend. If Aprilia wants to buy the #1 plate, let's see if they can keep it next year. Gauntlet thrown down, I believe.
Don't know if Jorge Martin was reading that or whether he was looking elsewhere, but yeah, the fighting talk has already begun from the Ducati point of view. That's the number that Pecco Bagnaia wants to keep on the front of his factory Ducati for next season. Jorge Martin wants to prize it away from him. You saw the stats on the top left corner of your screens a moment ago, and of course what stood out there was Bagnaia's 10 Sunday wins to Jorge Martin's 3. They've taken 7 sprint wins apiece, 15 podiums on a Sunday apiece this season. What has stood out in the end is the non-scores. 8 of them for Pecco Bagnaia this year, only 4 for Jorge Martin. That is what currently makes the difference. That is what accounts for the 19-point advantage for Jorge Martin. And it's a case of, well, get yourself to the checker flag in one piece and that should be enough, but that is easier said than done.
Sunday races so far this season where Pecco Bagnaia has outscored Jorge Martin by 19 points or more. Jerez, 25 points recovered on Martin after Martin crashed out of the lead in the Spanish Grand Prix. He also recovered 25 in the German Grand Prix, once again just 2 laps from home. It was a blunder by Jorge Martin which put Bagnaia victorious at the Sachsenring. And of course, most recently, Bagnaia recovered 19 points to Martin in one of our 2 visits to San Marino this year after the flag-to-flag fiasco by Jorge Martin when he pitted way too early for his rain tyre shod Pramac Ducati. The odds clearly are stacked against Bagnaia. Clearly they are weighing heavily in favour of Martin. Bagnaia said all weekend, well, all he can do is win the sprint, win the Grand Prix, and see if there's any help, any assistance that can come from other parts of the grid, or whether he can put the pressure on Martin, push Martin into a mistake. Bagnaia, Lewis, he knows himself exactly the thought process that Martin's going through right now. When you're fighting for your first MotoGP title, days don't get any bigger than this, do they, in the life of a Grand Prix motorcycle racer. Bagnaia talked a lot about this weekend, how he felt himself back in 2022 when he had a big points advantage over Fabio Quartararo. Wasn't himself at all, overpowered by the tension, the pressure, the nerves. And I remember him limping home around 8th or 9th place, and he's kind of obviously hoping that Jorge Martin has the sort of the similar butterflies.
Yeah, the difference, I suppose, from that occasion is that the opposition for Bagnaia in that situation, Fabio Quartararo was on a Yamaha that wasn't really competitive enough to win the race, which is what he had to do.